Dallas Cowboys don't have three-time Pro Bowl wideout Des Bryant, and they don't have 11-time Pro Bowl tight end Jason Witten. But how about the players they do have? Number one being Ezekiel Elliott, who took the league by storm 2 seasons ago, but was suspended for 6 games last year. Jerry Jones thinks the lack of distractions will help him.
I think that, and from every evaluation that I've seen, Des has an excellent opportunity to make a contribution, and a significant contribution to a team in the NFL. Our time was the time and the right time as far as our relationship, but that doesn't preclude him from being productive for another team.
All right, Chris, how great does Zeke need to be for the Cowboys to be successful this year?
Well, Zeke's got to have another season like he did in his rookie campaign when he had 1,000 yards from scrimmage on first down.
First down.
That takes all the pressure off of that offense, and most particularly Dak Prescott in that passing game. When your quarterback and your offense is ahead of schedule, that doesn't have a lot of pressure on your quarterback to drop back and have to try to win you football games. And I don't think Dak is at the point in his maturation to be a volume passer. He's not a guy that I want dropping back 30 to 35 times. I want Dak Prescott dropping back somewhere between 18 and 25 times, and I want to be able to turn around and hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott 20 to 25 times, allow that offense and that running back to be the hammer and really control time of possession, being able to control field position, move the sticks, and that's how we're going to win football games. The Dallas Cowboys in 2016, they won 13 games because they controlled time of possession, they kept a bad defense off of the field, and they didn't put too much on a rookie passer. That's their formula. That's what Ezekiel Elliott has to do in order for this Dallas Cowboys team to have a successful year. Remember, looking at Dak's stats from last year, he had 16 total turnovers. 10 of them came during that 6-game Ezekiel Elliott suspension.
But listen, the template you're describing, where you're basically going to, I don't want to say win despite your quarterback, but not ask your quarterback to go out there and win you a bunch of games. There's 2 ways that can work. You either have a very good defense to complement your running game, or your running game is the best in the league by a wide margin, by a full standard deviation. Like, what you're asking them to do doesn't work if Zeke rushes for 1,350 yards, and 1,350 yards might win you the rushing title. Like, that is the level of expectation you're talking about, and I agree with you.
So what are you looking at, 1,500? 1,600.
Yes.
What we saw from DeMarco Murray in 2014. It's going in that direction. That's what it has to be.
In 2016, he only played 15 games, and he was less than 15 yards away from 2,000 yards from scrimmage, and he had 16 touchdowns. That's what I'm talking about. Unless Dak is going to take a significant step forward, which I think will be difficult given the weapons he has as far as pass catchers, tight ends, and receivers, you need Zeke to be in the MVP discussion. That type of season for this Cowboys team to win 10 or more games.
I think it's very important that Zeke has a good year, but I think it's more important of all the people that we're not talking about that they have a good year. I think Zeke is the most dependable thing that they have. Why am I expecting him to have a great year? It's just not because of the offensive line. It's not because now he's got 2 years of experience, but what he has gone through in the last 24 months. When he left Ohio State, he did have some injuries in coming into the league, so he wasn't, in talking to his dad, who last year I talked to his dad several times on the phone, he wasn't able to lift weights like he typically would. Now, he is a workout warrior. We know about his speed, but he couldn't lift weights a lot his rookie year. Second year, we know what he went through off the field, so that was troubling time. So right now, I mean, this is the most peace he's had since he left Ohio State. So I expect him to have a great year. But there's more pressure on the offensive coordinator. There's more pressure on Jason Garrett as a head coach and the other complementary players, Allen Hurns, Terrence Williams, Cole Beasley, all these players and these coaches, they have to come up with the game plan that they can get explosive plays. You run the ball in the NFL to control the clock and to help your defense, but you score points in the passing game. So regardless how much y'all talk about Zeke, 13, 1,500, all those numbers are just a footnote. If they don't make big plays and have a consistent passing game, they will be an 8-8 football team.
But Chris, what is their path towards a big passing game with what they have now, the complement of players, or do you think they're not done yet?
Well, I think they're going to have to use the width of the field because they don't have a receiver that has deep speed, so they can't stretch defenses vertically. So they're going to have to use the small, quick guys, give them the ball in space. space, Cole Beasley, Tavon Austin, get them the ball in space, make defenders miss, pick up yards that way, move the chains. But ultimately, I think the most pressure is probably going to be on that offensive line, because that's a group that didn't live up to expectations last year. And I know Tyron Smith was dealing with the back injury.
Yep.
They drafted Connor Williams in the second round, a tackle out of Texas. Probably going to kick him inside to left guard, move Lyle Collins out to right tackle. I don't know about Lyle Collins being able to hold up in space. That's one of the things I'll be watching for the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, just understanding that both in the run game and the pass game, that offensive line is going to have to be the key to success.
And Collins, he struggles more in the passing game. He's a great run blocker. So as far as what they're trying to do with Zeke, now he can mash you. They can knock you off the ball. But when they become predictable, he can be one of the weak links over on the right side.
If we're talking about how the Cowboys are going to score points or move the ball absent of Ezekiel Elliott, I know, CeCe, you mentioned earlier that you're more bullish on Allen Hurns than you believe I am, or than maybe a lot of the football world is. I want to mention Tavon Austin, because Tavon Austin was taken with a top 12 pick in Los Angeles. He was then given a contract that a lot of the football world said, wait, what? Really? And then it seemed like the way the Rams were using him with Jeff Fisher was almost to try to justify the contract. Like, we've got to get him the ball a lot. But that doesn't mean he's not a quality player, right? It doesn't mean that he can't be helpful, even if in Los Angeles we looked at, well, he shouldn't be the fourth highest paid receiver in the league. How do you guys see? Because they're going to use him as more of a running option, screens, jet sweeps, than he was used in Los Angeles, where he was an undersized receiver. How much of a dynamic playmaking threat do you think Tavon gives them that they didn't have last year?
What I think they'll do is I believe that they'll have a three-headed monster. We know Zeke's going to get predominantly most of those carries. Zeke also has to be a better receiver out of the backfield. I look for that in year number 3 to be a special part of his game. But I told you, I mentioned a guy before, Bo Scarborough, the 7th-round pick out of Alabama. It's back to the days when Dallas had a running back named Marion Barber.
Yes.
And he scored all those touchdowns. So the 1-2 punch between him, now we have a change of pace in Tavon Austin. He's not a wide receiver. He is a specialty player, running back specialty player, going sideline to sideline. So what do we see Nick Foles when they struggled last year in faking the ball in the line of scrimmage to one of their running backs and getting the RPOs where you can throw a quick slant or you can swing the ball to another running back or throw the ball sideways? These are the things that you have to see in Dallas's offense. A lot like Dak did when he was in college, a lot like Tavon Austin did when he was in college. Also, the RPOs. Watch Ohio State when they thrashed Alabama. That's what they ran Zeke on. So all the talent that they do have with Cole Beasley, it leads to them going sideline to sideline better than they've been able to do.
Yeah, I think the offensive passing game has to be more geared toward getting the ball out of Dak Prescott's hands quickly with a lot of those RPOs. Similar to what Doug Peterson tried to do with some elements with Nick Foles when he became the starting quarterback with the Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't want Dak trying to throw the ball or push the ball down the field, because I don't think that he has the personnel to be able to do so. But I also don't believe that he's developed as a passer to be able to do that consistently and win games that way. So it's going to have to be get the ball out of his hands, 2 guys that can make plays, make people miss in space. That's how they're going to have success in the passing game. But again, it has to be in tandem with the running game. And the running game has to make sure to keep that offense out of long downs and distances. You don't want to become predictable in your passing game with Dak Prescott and these skill position players right now.
Chris Canty, thank you so much. Great insight, as always. Coming up, is the process broken? That's what they might be saying about Philadelphia. It's coming your way on First Things First.
We might have to find you an office around here. Talk to some people.
Live. Here we go.
If you had any lingering doubts about the performance of Lexus hybrids, this should clear the air. Now comparably priced to the rest of the lineup. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
McDonald's new fresh beef quarter pounders left Erica speechless, so here's John Goodman to speak for her.